This is an introduction to the iOS Magnifier utility. The iOS Magnifier is a terrific tool that can allow a person to use their iPhone or iPad as a video magnifier for close-up and distance tasks. For some people, their iPhone or iPad might serve them well as a substitute for both a hand magnifier or portable video magnifier and a monocular or other distance device. Let's take a look at a suggested setup routine for the magnifier. Note that this video is being filmed on June of 2021 and the iOS version on the device shown is 14.6. Future and past versions of the magnifier may look slightly different. Also note this is a suggested setup. The client may prefer something different from this. To start, we're going to go to we'll go to Settings and then Control Center. If the magnifier is not in the list of included controls, scroll down and find it in the More Controls section and tap the green plus next to it. It will move up to the included controls section. These are what we'll find in the Control Center, and these are all the items that can be included in the Control Center by tapping the green plus. In the included controls, we can reorder the controls appearance in the Control Center by dragging on the three bars next to any of the items. We want to drop that magnifier down to last place. Now let's go back to the main settings screen and choose accessibility. In there, we're going to go to magnifier and ensure that the magnifier is turned off. Somewhat counterintuitively, we do want that switch off. And now setup is complete, and we'll look at some suggestions for using the magnifier. Start the magnifier by flicking diagonally downwards from the very top right corner of the device to show the Control Center. On older devices with a home button, flick upwards from the bottom of the screen to show the Control Center. Touch the magnifying glass icon to bring up the magnifier utility. So we'll flick diagonally down from the top right corner. This is the magnifier icon. I'll touch it to bring up the magnifier. Magnification slider. Drag this to zoom in or out, or accomplish the same by pinching outwards and inwards with the thumb and forefinger in the main viewing area. Here's our slider. And the same function can be had just by pinching outwards and pinching inwards. A key point is that most clients will be holding their device in their hands. Mine is on a stand, and so is my reading material. When hand holding the device and/or the reading material, magnifying will also magnify any small movements of the device or the reading material, resulting in a shaky view. We'll look at a way to counter this in a moment. Of the controls, one of the most important is the freeze image, return to live view button. Before I take a picture, the button shows an O in the middle, indicating that I can freeze the image. After I do this, the button turns to an X, indicating that I can return to live view. This is the freeze button. You'll notice that in live view, I can see my hand in front of the camera. If I tap the button, there's now an X in the circle, and live view is off because we've frozen an image. After I freeze an image, if I touch inside the viewing area, the controls hide, giving me more viewing area. When I want the controls back, I touch the viewing area again. Hiding the magnifier controls while viewing is not so important on this big iPad Pro, but on an iPhone with a much smaller screen, Hiding the controls increases the viewing area considerably. So just touch anywhere inside the viewing area. The controls are hidden. And while I'm here, note that I can pinch outwards on the image and just drag with a single finger in any direction to pan across the image. To bring the controls back, first I'll zoom out, touch the image in the middle, and touch the X in the circle to go back to live view. The magnifier has a way to hide or reveal some of the extra controls by flicking up or down on a small horizontal bar at the top of the controls. You can see that there are 3 levels of controls available. So here we have 3 levels. There's 2 levels. And there's 1 level. I recommend that instead of zooming in live view and trying to hold the device steady enough to read, zoom all the way out, get as close to the reading material as possible, filling the screen with the reading material, and then freeze the image. Getting close and filling the screen with the object or document before magnifying makes the best use of all the camera's pixels and ensures a clearer image when zooming in. I'll demonstrate this by pushing the reading material away. I'm going to touch the image to make sure I'm focused on it properly, and then I'll capture an image, and now we'll zoom in, and you can probably see that the text is fairly fuzzy. Zoom back out, go back to live view, pull our reading material back in nice and close, and capture an image, hide the controls, and if we zoom in now, hopefully you can see that the quality of the text is much better. Also, by freezing an image, it removes any shakiness from my hands as a factor in degrading the image capture. Now let's have a look at some of the setup options and features within the magnifier interface. Touching the gear wheel to go into the magnifier settings allows us to customize the user interface. We can include or exclude controls from the secondary controls and rearrange their order of appearance. We can also control which color filters are available to the user. After setting these features to the user's preference, we can return to the magnifier interface by selecting the Done button. Here's our gear wheel. And in here we have the list of secondary controls. I can reorder them or exclude them by deleting them. And in the filters, we have a long list of different filters that are available, which we can check or uncheck to shorten that list. And I'll click Done to get out of here. Looking at some of these secondary controls, the sun icon gives control over the magnifier brightness. It is worth noting that this brightness is separate from the device's screen brightness control, which is found in the control center. A client should know how to control both of these to optimize viewing in different lighting conditions. I'll show you both of those. Here's the sun, which controls the magnifier's brightness, which is different from flicking down into the control center where we find the screen brightness slider. Also note that touching the sun icon brings us back to the secondary controls. So one touch brings up the slider for that control, another touch brings us out of that slider. The next icon on my screen controls the contrast in the same way. touch the contrast button again to go back to the secondary controls. The next icon with the overlapping circles opens the filter options. Remember that you can customize which filter options are available. The last icon on my screen turns on and off the flashlight. Some iPads without a light will not allow this feature to be used. This is the flashlight right here, which doesn't work on this iPad. The multi-capture control is a feature that allows a user to capture multiple images, swipe between them, and magnify any of them. To keep things short, I will not demo this feature, but point out the way to end out of the feature and return to single capture mode. This is your multi-capture button right here. And now we're in multi-capture mode. The end button appears up here. And we're back to single capture. When you're done with the magnifier, simply flick up from the bottom of the screen to return to the home screen, or press the home button at the bottom if using an older device that has a home button. Lastly, something to watch out for: using the magnifier in low light, at high levels of magnification in live view, or with shakier than average hands is likely to result in blurry images. Thanks for watching.